So just a couple FYI items that we may add right at the end.
Okay.
And everything on here is still accurate.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Declaration of potential conflicts of interest. Is there anything to declare? No, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 8 items. We have the housing report is on here, and some agreements and change orders. Any discussion on those?
Madam Mayor, I'm
Yes.
just concerned about, not concerned, but wondering what our next steps are with the Spearfish Housing Study Report. What do we do with this report? How do we produce a plan that will be able to assist those people that are looking for housing? So where do we go with this report?
We have made the report accessible for everybody, of course, online, and we've made copies available to the real estate sectors as well as the developers so that they can review the recommendations within that. We have just started walking through that. We will have a future conversation with the city council as to how we can assist in affordable housing or any of those pieces that are in there. So that conversation will be forthcoming. It's just not here yet. It's really to go through that information and take that data out that we need in order to, at the level where you guys are at, to help assist with that process. So.
Yeah, that's my concern, is where do we fit into this puzzle? And how can you work with the general representation out there to help put housing certainly on the streets?
And I'll get you a better answer as we move forward into this. My answer right now is kind of, we've got to find our spot. We have to find how we're going to utilize this report.
Thank you.
So more to come.
I hope so.
Okay. So any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, items from visitors. I have Todd Ackerman here with Habitat for Humanity and Restore. If you want to say a few words.
Certainly. I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor and Council members, for the invitation today. Today is World Habitat for Humanity Day, and here locally in the Black Hills for the past 25 years, Spearfish is one of the communities that has helped us provide housing to over 100 families. And our goal for the next 5 years is to serve another 50 families, not only through building new homes, but also repairs and remodels and that type of work as well. We definitely, as Habitat for Humanity and the Restore here in Spearfish, would not exist without the good people here in this community. And every day, it is humbling for me as the manager of Restore here in Spearfish to serve as the steward of the generosity of the people of this community. So thank you very much. I appreciate what you do for us.
Well, thank you very much also, and I'm going to read something here. This is a proclamation. Whereas on a global scale, about 1 in 4 people live in conditions that harm their health, safety, prosperity, and opportunities. And whereas on a local level, 1,186 people were homeless in South Dakota in 2016. Whereas secure tenure not only facilitates opportunities for investment and wealth accumulation, but also provides a source of identity, status, and political power, and serves as a basis for the pursuit of other rights. And whereas the United Nations General Assembly has declared the first Monday in October as World Habitat Day, a time to unite in the worldwide effort to eradicate poverty housing. By raising awareness and advocating for universal, decent housing, we can change the systems that reinforce poverty housing and make affordable homes a reality for all. And whereas in recognition of World Habitat Day 2016, Black Hills Area Habitat for Humanity will continue to build and preserve simple, decent, affordable housing for families in the Black Hills, and will continue to address the lack of decent housing around the world while reducing environmental impact by recycling building materials through habitat restores. So now therefore I, Dana Boak, Mayor of Spearfish, South Dakota, do hereby designate October 3rd, 2016, as World Habitat Day, and encourage all Spearfish citizens to work towards the elimination of inadequate housing. Thank you for everything you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Todd, I'm assuming there'll be a photo op, is that correct? So come on up. I'm sorry, knock you over. We were talking about the housing study, and in there it does talk about houses that in Spearfish that need upkeep and all that, so we should get you a copy of that, so you have
Please do.
the same numbers we have, so.
And send any families out there to give them some information.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Here's a copy of that study too.
Okay, next we have Finance Intern Wooten, presentation regarding the W-9 and authorization for direct deposit project.
Kate, you'll need to turn the microphone back on.
So hello, Intern Wooten, how are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. You ready?
Yes.
Go for it.
So I wanted to give you a little idea of one of the projects I worked on this summer. It was the Form W-9 and authorization for direct deposit. So Dave first started offering direct deposit to vendors in 2012. Then in 2013, it was mandated that all of the subsidies sign up for direct deposit. And at the beginning of this summer, we had about 50 to 60 receiving direct deposit, including the subsidies. I worked with Dave to draft a letter requesting vendors send in a W-9 and sign up for direct deposit. The W-9 form basically gives us their physical address and tax ID number. And the letter was sent to 972 businesses and individuals. Over the past 3 months, we have received a response from 55% of those 972, and about 1/3 of the 55% signed up for direct deposit. So this saves Dave and the city in general about $4 a transaction. So that's what I did.
Dave likes to save money, so that was fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, just the cost of the postage, the envelope, the check, printing the check, and the check, and the assembling that is a lot of time, and the cost of those materials and postage, and Kate did a great job. We had what I felt a very positive response, getting over 50% to 55% response. And getting the W-9s updated too allows us to make sure we have the correct tax ID. Sometimes businesses, the small businesses in particular, they will originally be an individual with a social security number, and then they will form as a partnership or incorporate and change. That changes the tax reporting responsibilities. So it was great. Kate did a great job, and not only in this, she helped with a number of different projects and with treasurer's reports and with the annual report and those types of things. And Kate proved to be a great asset for our office this summer.
Very good. And Kate, this is your last day.
Yes, it is.
This is it. Now I learned that Kate is not only a county major, but a theater minor, and that is not common. So we have thoroughly enjoyed having you, and thank you for all your great work.
Thank you. It's been a great experience.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have ordinance 1253. This is the second reading. This is a removal of certain properties from the rural service district.
No changes from last presentation.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And next, we have ordinance 1254. This is the first reading to change zoning from county ag to a DRD. for the reserve detention pond.
Just in order of business here, Eric, do you want them to act on item C first, the annexation, before they do first reading on 1254?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. This is the changing of zoning, which goes along with the voluntary annexation of the detention basin. Again, this is not accepting the basin for city maintenance or ownership yet, it's just getting it into the city limits. And changing zoning to DRD to match the rest of the neighborhood.
Right, it's just because the other parcel is DRD, so
Correct.
it's all going in there. It's not going to develop into anything but a basin.
That's correct.
Yep.
Move to approve first reading of ordinance 1254.
Second.
They were quick over there. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the second is a resolution 2016-28. This is the voluntary annexation of lot DP, which is the same lot.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have resolution 2016-27. This is utility fees. Dave.
This is the resolution council asked me to put together that lists the fees that are necessitated for January 1 of 2017 in order to meet the 2017 approved budget as well as the 5-year capital improvement plan.
Okay.
It's a necessary item, resolution 2016-27. Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2016-29. This is the Black Hills Airport Board. And on that list, we are just making a smooth transition. Who is on that board now? We're just reappointing to their terms. There will be, looks like 3 are up at the end of this year, so
These are the mayor's appointments.
we do need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a public hearing to consider a lease with John Swanson to graze portions of the Carlston property. Eric, anything to add to that?
Nothing to add, we talked about it. Nothing to add, we talked about it in the last meeting, and this is just the process that we go through when we lease municipal property for a term of longer than 6 months or a value of $500. Everything, don't hold me to those numbers. A resolution of intent to enter into leases, then a public hearing, and then action is made if you're so inclined.
Okay, so at this time, I will open the public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to speak on this issue, please go to the podium, state your name for the record. Okay, so hearing none, I will close the public hearing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And in conjunction with that, we have a public hearing to consider a lease with Stacy Moak to hay portions of the Carlston property. And so this is very similar. They're just another contract. So at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please go to the podium. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to finance, request authorization to transfer $186,997 from the 201 Second Penny Sales Tax Fund to the 606 Airport Fund, which is as budgeted in the 16 budget.
This is an administrative action requesting the transfer between those two funds. It was budgeted for 2016, and the primary function of this transfer is to make the loan payments for the purchase of the Carlston property.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So, second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then next is request approval for the master metered subdivision policy. Dave?
This I explained in great detail at both committee meetings, and nothing has been changed. It was an inequity that we identified amongst the different customers and with the same types of properties. It affects 6 different properties and groups of customers that are master metered within the city. So it's a small group of people, however, it's not, the rates are not fair between them. And the spreadsheet within the packet explains, it lists those different properties and the differences that they're currently being charged. And this policy will correct that so that they're all being charged the same.
As of last Tuesday, you haven't heard back from anybody? Have
No,
you
we have
since?
not received comment from any one of the 6 properties.
Okay.
We have, no.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Public Works request to seek proposals for the ADA repairs along 10th Street.
You can take those. This was an unbudgeted project for the department, but it was brought to our attention early in the year with some deficiencies, especially around the ADA ramps. We've got 22 locations along 10th Street that have various issues, most of that being deteriorating concrete of the ramps themselves. Back when that project was done, we used a product that was a precast detector panel, and since then code and materials have changed to where now they're using a high-strength polymer tile in those, and so we'll be utilizing the newer technology on that. We also have some grade adjustments we need to do to comply with the ADA 2% cross slope on that. So what we're asking is to go seek proposals from our local contractors and try to get that project completed yet this year. We will be utilizing second penny money, and a lot of that is going to come from where the Ramsdale project came in under budget on that. So we have the funding to move forward as long as our contractors think they can get this project done before the season stops, as we would like to proceed.
And I would like to also add that we are well under budget on the rec center roof replacement project. That was over $100,000 under budget, so there's funds there as well.
All right.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
My initial concern here is that, money coming out of Ramsdale, there are still portions of Ramsdale that have not been completed. Is that right, Joe? As far as
Yeah,
Ames and those
The
kind of
Ames
things?
Street and everything, I believe that works.
I'm going to cover that a little bit at the end of the meeting under items for discussion. I have some information for Ames Street.
Okay. My concern here is that we make sure that we cover Ames Street and whatever else.
I think
is
we have
necessary.
funding to do both.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. City administration intern, Vinyl, will present the 2016 Citizen Satisfaction Survey overview. Hello, how are you?
Good, how about you?
You ready to go?
Of course.
Okay.
So you turn the mic up a little up. My biggest project this summer has been the 2016 Spearfish Citizen Satisfaction Survey. It was first completed in 2013, when at that point it was decided it would be completed every 3 years. So 2016 was the next year up. Just an overview of some of the more statistical areas, as that is my minor. I have an econ and stats minor, so this is a nice way to use what I've been learning in school. We dispersed the survey through the mail with the utility bills, so there was approximately 3,600 copies that were sent out with the utility bills, as well as this year, which is different from 2013. It was available online as well. So we did have that link to SurveyMonkey, which was available on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our city website.
as well as in a couple different email blasts that were sent out to provide individuals another opportunity. If, for example, they're a renter and don't receive a utility bill, they would have the opportunity to fill it out. Or if there was more than one adult in the household and they only received one with their utility bill, both adults could fill it out. So it gave more of an opportunity for responses. This year we did get 577 responses, which is up about 200 to 300 people, depending on the question, from 2013. So that is a pretty large increase from 2013. The confidence level, which this is more of a statistical thing, is we are confident at the 99% level with a standard deviation of plus or minus 5.235, which basically means that we can be sure that 99% of our population, over the entire adult population of Spearfish, would answer the same way with a deviation of about 5, meaning that if 80% said one thing, we can be 99% sure that 99% of our population would respond between 75% and 85% the same way. The population that these statistics are based on is the adult population in Spearfish, which according to the 2010 census is about 8,719, so that is what this was calculated based on. And then all of the calculations do omit the not applicable answer. That was an answer that you could give if you didn't have any experience, say with planning and zoning, you could check the not applicable box. And these statistics do omit that so that we're not considering people that don't have the experience with it to kind of sway the statistics, so I did take those out. The first question on the survey was simply, how long have you lived here? It shows that about 70% of the population of Spearfish has lived here between 2 and 30 years, with the median age in Spearfish being about 35. So there are a lot of people that lived here their whole life, and there are a lot of people that have moved here. The next question was, how would you describe Spearfish as a place to live? As you can see by the chart, there is a large amount of people that think it's great, excellent, about 97%. There were a couple of scores that were not rated here excellent. Only 16 people out of the 577 said that, though, so that's a pretty good average. This is a word cloud based on the most used words and comments regarding the best things about living in Spearfish. There were a lot of comments about how people loved the small town feeling, how beautiful it is, the community aspects, the climate, the location, all of those things that we all think about Spearfish too. And these are the things that people take issue with or that see are not as great. The biggest of that being growth and development. A large emphasis was placed on the fact that people do want it to retain that small town feel, and they're worried that with the rate of growth and development that it is shying away from that. There was a lot of comments about a lack of shopping that's provided here in Spearfish, quite a few recommendations for a Target being built here. And then another large concern was affordable housing, which we saw in our housing study, as well as just the cost of living here in general and taxes. But that's hard to make people happy with those. The next question dealt with the cleanliness and upkeep of the city, which we got very good ratings on this as well, about 95.2% good and excellent. You can see the word cloud there as well. There was a lot of comments about how beautiful our parks are, how much people appreciate those, and there was a large input about how much our streets and our snow removal has improved over the past couple of years. There was quite a bit of response regarding that. There was also quite a bit of response regarding the enforcement of ordinances and such regarding upkeep of properties, saying that it has improved. Some people were on the other direction, but that is how the upkeep and cleanliness played out in the survey. How safe do you feel walking in your neighborhood after dark? We got about 86.1% good and excellent ratings. With some people that answered undecided did state that it's because they don't walk in the dark, so they weren't really sure how they would answer that. There was quite a few comments regarding mountain lion activity, keeping people inside when the sun goes down. Quite a few comments saying that our police force really makes people feel safe, that they don't see any issues because they do see the police presence. And there was kind of a 50-50 split. Some people said that there wasn't enough lighting. Some people said that the reason they feel so safe is because of how great the lighting is. So there was definitely some split opinions, but for the most part, people are feeling safe. The next question is, how easy have you found it to involve yourself with the decision-making process? That purple bar on the end indicates people that answered that they had not tried. I think that's pretty telling of what we see here with attendance at meetings and what have you. There were a lot of comments from people that did answer that they have not tried that say, we elect our council members because we trust that they'll vote the way we want them to, that they have our best interest in mind. So they don't necessarily feel the need to participate because they have you guys representing their interests and their needs in the community. There was this is one of our largest spreads of answers, with good and excellent not being in the top %, but we're always working to improve, and that's all we can do here. Next we have, how do you prefer to be informed? Because that's one large thing that has been worked on since 2013, is better communication, better getting information out to our citizens. And so we took a poll on how people prefer to be informed of news and announcements. The BH Pioneer social media and the city newsletter really took the top %, with the largest being the Pioneer. Going along with that, there is a graph from 2013 on here as well, because it's the complete opposite of 2016, with visits to the Facebook and the city website. In 2013, about 60% of people had answered that they had not visited the website. Now in 2016, 60% have. So we are making great improvements with people clicking on our website, going over to our Facebook, checking things out. And going along with that, were you satisfied with the information found on the website and also the Facebook page? We do have a large % of people, 74%, saying that they are very satisfied or satisfied, stating that they like the pictures on the Facebook, that it's definitely improved over the past couple of years. There were quite a few comments regarding that they didn't necessarily like that it's optimized to use with Internet Explorer. There were quite a few comments about that. People really appreciated the pictures and the improvement in the social media over the past couple of years, with more posts and more engaging posts. Do you feel you're getting your money's worth from your property taxes? As this was one of the largest things that people complained about or stated that they disliked about Spearfish, it is a pretty large % that stated that they were feeling that they were getting their money's worth. There was confusion regarding this question, as the question only took into account the city's portion of property taxes and not also the county and the school districts, from what I understand. And so people were slightly confused about the number that was provided, and told me what their property taxes were a lot. There are a lot of comments depicting what their individual property taxes are and how they're not in line with this number, but this does only include city taxes. And then going along with property taxes, there was a question about community service not-for-profit organizations, and if the citizens supported the continued use of their tax dollars to help fund those. About 60% said that yes, they do, with quite a variety of comments stating that this is the one I approve of and not these ones, and I approve of all of them, I don't approve of any of them. It was a really variety of comments underneath this question, just based, I think, upon the opinion that you could have about this. And then the utility service. Do you feel as though you're getting your money's worth? The red bars on this chart represent the yeses, the yellows the undecided, and the blues the no's. There's about around 65% for each of them saying yes. There's still a large push for mandated recycling. There's a lot of comments still about that. People discussing their water bill just in general and wanting to pick up yard waste along with the garbage. There was a lot of concern about that. But overall, it was pretty positive comments, not too much on the negative side. And then how would you rate the following police services was the next portion of this for in our emergency services area. And this is a weighted chart, which is a little more confusing to read than an average bar chart. So the further to the left of the graph it is, the more good and excellence they received, and the further to the right, the more very poors and poors. But the thing to keep in mind is that if they got, for example, 5 excellence and 5 very poors, they'd be right in the middle, because they just pull each other either direction. But the police department has gotten very good results on this, with a lot of people stating that they really appreciate seeing the presence in the community, that crime prevention is good, that it's a safe community, dispatch is awesome. There's a lot of really great comments about the police department in there. And then we have our emergency services, our fire, our call response, and our emergency medical services. These are all in the upper 80s even, % good and excellent ratings. There was quite a bit of discussion as we have merged into the newly owned fire department, the city-run fire department, regarding people's opinions about that, which is slightly to be expected with this kind of merger. But mostly great comments that they're always timely, they're always efficient, that they get them where they need to be, and that they feel safe with those. This moves into our administrative services, so our meter reading, billing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, human resources, cemetery, and building rentals. A lot of these had really great reviews, with meter reading and billing coming in at the top %, which is always great to see that we're serving our customers in a way that makes them happy. There was a lot of talk about building rental and how they want it to be fully automated, do it all online. There are quite a few comments regarding that. But overall, the comments on administrative services are also very positive. Followed by Park, Rec, and Forestry. This is probably has the best comments, the most glowing reviews, which is a lot of what Spearfish is known for, is our outdoor activities and our parks and our recreational activities. The rec center has a couple comments about wanting to be indoors and price, but there are also very good comments about the rec center. It's, I'd say, more positive than negative, which is always good. One area that has gotten quite a bit of comment about it is the number of programs. A lot of people would like to see more senior-oriented programs, more adult programs at times outside of the workday, was a large amount of the comments regarding the programs offered by Park, Rec, and Forestry. Next, we have Public Works. There are great improvements in Public Works. We have a lot of really high ratings, especially snow plowing had a lot of good comments about improvement, as well as the street lights and road maintenance have a lot of great comments in there about how we've been improving over the past couple of years, just based on what the citizens are saying in those comments. It seems as though there's a much more favorable impression of a lot of the things that this department is working on. Planning and zoning. This one doesn't have as many responses just because not as many people are familiar with the planning and zoning process, don't really need to contact this department as often, but it still does have pretty good reviews. One area that has a little more trouble is code enforcement. It's still getting off its feet, it's still working on it. So there is quite a few negative comments regarding code enforcement, but it is a relatively new position, still working on improving that. We have city offices next, which have very good reviews, especially courtesy, which is always wonderful that the citizens that are calling into the offices, that are coming into the offices, feel as though they're being treated respectfully and politely. There are a lot of comments regarding how phone calls are handled well, how they have excellent elected officials, excellent employees in general. There are a lot of great comments under this section as well. And then we have the library, which I'd say the most negative comments received about this were the available selection, that there's not as many young adult books, which I thought was an interesting comparison. That they do, there are quite a few comments stating that they would like a larger young adult section. But overall, the library had really great reviews and that it's excellent and the employees are always polite and that there's a great amount of children's programs that are very valued within the citizens. Have you attended a city meeting in the last 12 months? There's a lot more people saying no than yes, but... And then these are the meetings attended based on comments. There were 45 people that commented that they had attended a city council meeting. And then you have your various other meetings. Quite a few people told us that they had attended their HOA meetings, which is great. I'm glad they're involved in their communities. As well as school board meetings. Planning and zoning had quite a few, and the planning commission were very popular. And that is the end of this survey overview.
Very good.
Wow, much information.
Any comments? Any questions?
It's amazing what you did with this, so it'll be fun just to sit down and read it. Thank you for doing it.
It was fun. I'm glad I got to.
One of the things that we do watch, and I said it back in 2013, we have set a baseline of 70%. We want all of our services to be above that. So as we review this information, we'll look at those ones that have not rated as well, and we'll try to figure out exactly how we can educate, how we can provide better information and bring those scores up. And that's the reason that we run through this. And so I should say that Ella, as one of our interns, did an exceptional job this year as well too. We had some great interns this summer, and so appreciate everything she did with that. So.
Any surprises, either positive or negative, in comparison to the 2013?
Well, probably the only big surprises in there as we start analyzing the data between the two is that, we had 200 more surveys received. So 200 to 300, that's a really good number. That gives a very good statistical analysis of that. I was surprised that one of the things that, as you try to break these pieces out, citizen involvement was one that was really interesting for me, because it rates fairly low. People want to be engaged. People want to be more involved. And then I sit and look at the different types of meetings that we've done and all the input that we do try to bring them in. And I look at it and I believe that what we have is more of an educational process, because some of the responses we did receive in the survey as well too is that, well, I came to a meeting and I told you what I wanted and you voted a different direction. That's the hard part of that. It's because you guys are considering the decision based upon the good of the whole of the community, rather than just the individuals that have come and expressed their concerns publicly. And so, in my mind, that's just an educational thing that we have to work on. I believe the ones that have said that they don't like to live in Spearfish, I believe they've already moved. We've assisted them with that, but no. Probably the other thing that, even another one of the lower scores with the code enforcement, again, this is one that we continue to become more proactive with that department. We believe that those scores are going to get better. Right now, it's an overwhelming task.
Right. There's a lot to do,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of pressure.
But I believe that we are making the progression where it needs to be, and so it is good to look at that information. Those are the only things that I can say.
What was just a guesstimate on the breakdown